And what would you say to sport administrators? So current sport administrators, as far as helping women of color um, get into coaching and maintain coaching positions.
It's about providing opportunities. Just like with Black Women in Sport Foundation. What do we
Mm-hmm.
try to do? We try to expose people, kids, to a variety of things, providing them opportunities to make some choices. And it's about giving opportunities and maybe being willing to take a chance if someone has the right mindset and the right desire and the drive and the work ethic. That maybe they don't have the long resume, but they have the things that can make them a valuable member of that coaching staff. And just for administrators to assume that the people are qualified and that they're knowledgeable and that they're competent.
Mm-hmm.
Um, as anyone else with their level with that level of experience.
Yeah.
But unless they're given opportunity, they can't build the experience. So someone has to give them the opportunity. And and so, what are the other, aside from win-loss records, what are the attributes that they think are important for a quality coach? And looking, it's kind of like admissions into grad school. You have a portfolio kind of a way of looking at it, not just your GRE scores.
Mm-hmm.
But we're also going to look at, recommendations. We're going to look at your grades. What are the different pieces that make up a good coach? And besides just the win-loss record. And maybe, trying to focus on those more than the numbers in terms of giving opportunity.
Yes, and to that point, one story that struck me as really odd because I'm a basketball person, and I was reading about Cheryl Miller, and uh,
Reading about who?
Cheryl Miller.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
I mean, I can't think of a better basketball player, male or female.
Uh-huh.
And I mean, even if just, looking at her credentials as a player and as a coach, it was interesting to see that she struggled with finding a coaching job. I was listening to her interview when she that she did recently, where she applied to different schools and she only got one interview and wasn't hired for that job, and wasn't able to find something until she was able to get back. She got in contact with a person she knew, or she knew the AD
Right.
at Langston, and was able to get there. And I'm like, Cheryl Miller. um and so I wanted to get your insight. What do you think? How does is that uncommon for women of color? Is that story uncommon, or what does that story say about the opportunities for women of color to coach?
Yeah. I mean, it's true because there's limited jobs. You're fighting with men for these jobs. You're fighting with white women for these jobs, and it really is. Someone has to put in the word for you. Someone has to say, this person, even like you said, with all the qualifications that she had and the credentials, and it was still difficult. And then what other baggage are people bringing with them? And so it's really is difficult, and and that's why the networking piece and going to conferences and going to becoming parts of different organizations is really important so people get to know you, and then someone has to open that door or crack it so you can squeeze in. But it's limited number of jobs, and it's someone has to put in that good word, which
Mm-hmm.
means that means that someone has to know you
Yeah.
and be able to speak for you and recommend you. So that's the key. That's the key in the market today.
Yes, in and out of sport.
Yep. Yep.
Yep.
Exactly. Exactly. That really is the key.
Um, and so where do you? And I think you're also unique in that there is a Black Women in Sport Foundation. And how do you see that organization? Helping women of color um, in the future, or even currently. What are some things that um, Black women in sport are doing now, and things
Uh-huh.
that you would like to continue to do or start doing to help women of color and gain and maintain coaching positions?
Yeah, well, I think number one, that as young people, like yourself, being able to have them working for the organization, working with youth, seeing other coaches, doing some coaching and teaching, and realizing, this is something that I enjoy. And once they realize it's something I enjoy, maybe this is something I want to pursue. So I think, we see folks that have been involved with the foundation who have gone on to coach and teach and do other things, which is great. And so I think just that exposure, um, for them to have the opportunity to do that work is helpful. And then the conferences that we run, I think, have been very inspirational and have helped with network, helping people, connect and network a little bit who are either already in coaching or who want to get into coaching so that they can share ideas. And I think those have been two very key things.
Yes, and I am a testimony
Yes, you are.
that I did not know. I thought I was going to be in professional sports. I just came to get my master's so I could be a director of operations,
Uh-huh.
for NBA team. And I got to Philly and I was working with the Sixers and doing market research. And then Dr. Jackson was like, you need to meet Tina Sloan Green. And I said, okay, I'll meet her. I went to a meeting. They was like, yeah, we do this and that. I came ready to coach basketball because that's my sport.
Right,
And I was
right.
in that meeting and she was like, no, we don't have no basketball here. We do tennis, lacrosse, fencing, soccer, golf. I said, what? When she said fencing, I said, you want me to go in the hood with a sword? uh,
Yeah, yeah.
and I loved it actually. And that's when I took that. I didn't go back to the Sixers next season. I said, this is what I want to do. And she said, well, if this is what you really want to do, you need to go get a PhD. And I'm like, I gotta go to more school.
And look at you now.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You've
So
been very inspirational to a lot of people.
yes,
A lot of people.
that yes, I thank God for that. So I tell my kids, everybody of course, wants to go work in the NBA or the NFL, and I said, okay, just be ready. It's competitive. It's a you know and if it can be, really I want them to focus on what is fulfilling to you,
Right,
and you
right.
feel like it's because it's the money and the glamour, but at the end of the day, when you have already worked at the office 12 hours and now that
Mm-hmm.
you don't feel like going to the game. So
Mm-hmm.
what's
It's
the
not all that glamorous anymore.
mhm 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 and I learned that I'd rather just make money and pay for my tickets and enjoy and then go home. But uh
There you go.
but I thank God for you know Black women in sport intervening in my life and helping
Yeah.
me see that I can there's other ways that sports
Mm-hmm.
can be fulfilling. And I
Right,
think that's
exactly.
even
And how many people you can touch by teaching and doing what you're doing,
yes.
you know? So, so your
Yes.
girl, your girl Dawn Staley is doing pretty darn good down there, huh?
Oh, yes. Are they still undefeated?
I don't know. I know last time I heard they were ranked number one. I don't know if that's the case.
Yeah. I said, shoot. The last time I checked, it was 7-0, and then my friend CJ, she was working for her at Temple, and then she finished her masters and went down to South Carolina with her. And I'm like, this is not. I feel like Philly was this, like. surreal experience. Like I was in the heart of black women doing these powerful things, and that was just normal until I got down to Texas, and I was like, where are the black people at?
Well, that's what I say. Sometimes you just fall into stuff. That's, like a King of Temple. I just thought it was normal to have a team. I didn't know you had to have a club first. It was just normal.
Yeah.
So you just said, well, yeah, this is how it's supposed to be. You don't even realize till way after the fact.
Yep, and I think that's a good thing because that means that we didn't expect less than what we were used to. And yeah, that's what I'm realizing, the importance of, having role models there. I'm just like, I know I didn't have, between my mom and all of y'all, I mean, I didn't have no choice, like, not to succeed. Like, I got, even getting my master's was like, yeah, I had to keep moving because there's people out there that's, that have laid this foundation and have basically, made sure that I can get to that level. So I need to. And, like you said, like having the drive to do so. But then also, too, I didn't want to get my butt whooped because, y'all, and I know if I didn't do what I was supposed to do, y'all was going
to be on you.
Yeah. Right. So I appreciate that accountability.
Very good. Very good.
Yes.
All right, well, let me get a look at this thing when you're done with it, all right?
Oh, yes, ma'am. So I have you recorded if that's okay. So that way I can, there's something, whatever I quote, I'm going to send it to you first and so that you can see. But they wanted to make sure that we have coaches' voices speaking in there. I think another thing that I'm realizing is that even as researchers, we talk about sport, but we don't really get input from the people who do it day to day. And so what I would like to do is make sure that we capture, and I love the fact that you're a professor too, because in that way you can make sure that you understand the academic, the academic and the practitioner side of it. And I think that's what we're missing. Even in the literature I'm reading, we keep talking about this is wrong or this is wrong, and I'm like, okay, well, it's a system that's broken, but the system is made of people. Right. So what are we doing to dialogue with the people who can fix things or who are
change things,
yes, that so that way our research is not just for us to get tenure or say we publish, but to really affect change in how people coach and how people are being coached. So yes, you will definitely see this. Hopefully within this week you will I will send it to you so that you can see, and if there's anything you want to add or revise.
I have to tell you, I'm sure there will be, because I never like the way I sound when I'm quoting. My consideration people, they just laugh. She goes, send it back to me when you fix it. I go, okay, I don't like the way that sounds. I know that's what I said, but that's not the way. I don't like the way it sounds. But the only other thing I wanted to mention, which I think is also important, I think one of the things that young people also have to do, just like yourself, is they have to go on and continue their education, because that's something that I think made me a little unique, besides the fact that fencing was unique, but the fact that, I had my advanced degrees, and as our parents always told us, education is something no one can take away from you. And so that also garners a little bit more respect than not having them, even though you're still fighting those same battles.
Yeah.
The fact that you have those degrees, to go ahead and get their masters, or you don't need a doctor if you want to coach, but at least to get the masters and to get that credential. Because then that puts you at a different level that makes it than those without.
Yeah.
So that would be the only other thing I would add.
Yay! And how's Mr. Norman doing?
He's doing fine. He's right here. Joyce said to tell you hello, Norman. She said, "How's your golf?"
Oh, I know. Mr. Norman, that is one of my New Year's resolutions.
I'll put him on. Hold on one second.
Happy New Year, Mr. Norman. How are you doing?